Good morning, everyone. It's September 21st, 2019. It has been since August 2nd that I put out a video. I was supposed to have a part-time job, and that quickly evolved into 50, 60-hour work week, which was killing me. It was sucking all of the energy I had out of my body, and when I got off work, I did not want to do anything but sleep, which I couldn't even do that because I homeschool my children. So this is partially the reason why I have not put any videos out. The other reason is shortly after August 2nd, a weird bug happened with YouTube where I was locked out of my account. Every time I tried to log in, it would send me to a page that had a bunch of TVs on it and said, oops, something went wrong, or something like that anyway. And that went on for almost the entire month of August and went into September as well. Matter of fact, I was able to log back on September 12th, I believe it was. I wanted to do a 9/11 video and to remind everybody that those buildings defied the laws of physics. So, and people want to focus solely on Building 7, but we really should be focusing on the other two towers as well, since they did fall at free fall speeds as well. And of course, I don't recall the university that did the study, but some university did a study about Building 7 and came to the conclusion that was, demoed. They imploded it, right? Well, the other buildings fell very similar to the way Building 7 fell. But I'm not going to talk to you guys about 9/11 today. That's 12 days ago, something like that. And you guys know, you already know what the deal is with September 11th, 2001. What I find very fucked up, really, is the notion President Trump is going to be sending or has sent troops over there to Saudi Arabia. The very people he was pointing the finger at regarding 9/11 during his campaign. So, Now, I was on Discord for a little while, and I have not been on since, and the reason for this is no matter what you present to people, they will cling to their heroes, their chosen candidates, whatever you want to call these individuals. And no matter what these individuals do, they can do no wrong. So I got very discouraged in Discord by a couple of individuals, one of which was a very hardcore Trump supporter. I don't know if he still is, probably, because after all, that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what these people do. It only matters what they promise, and at the end of the day, these promises are almost always broken. But today, I want to show you a clip from another channel. I kind of stumbled across this here, and it's from Dark Matter 2525. Now, a lot of Christian type people probably would not like this guy's channel because he kind of argues against religion. And so do I, by the way, especially organized religion. So we're going to hit this clip here and talk about what it says. The name of this video is Totalitarian, by the way.
Sir. Call me Mr. Shepherd for now. Get used to keeping up appearances. Yes, Mr. Shepherd. Everything I'm about to tell you is going to seem very strange. Yet, consider the source. You know what I say is true. Yes, I know. Then listen carefully. Your real education begins right now. Because you live during a time...
And by the way, I had my teenage son, who's going to be 16 in March, watch this because it is really real education, by the way.
Time of abundance, the general populace has not been a major concern for you. You've had it pretty good. Well, that's about to change. Historically, the elites had to concern themselves with how to keep the people satiated. The people don't even have to be happy, really. As long as they have just enough to lose, they won't.
No. You heard what he said. Satiated. They don't really have to be happy. They only have to have enough to lose. And I think pretty much most people in America and probably the world at large are at that point where they have just enough to lose to where they won't push back. They won't put themselves out there to tell the truth, to tell it like it is, and it's a very sad thing. I too have things to lose, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the slightest bit happy. I have moments where, you know, that light, I guess you could call it, shines through. But all in all, no, I'm not happy. Who wants to be a slave? And if you're aware that you're a slave, then happiness is a very, very difficult thing to accomplish. We all have, most of us anyway, have just enough things and the people in our lives to be pacified. This is what he's getting at here.
Fight you. They won't risk it. If you go too far, however, if you get too greedy, too fast, expect a revolution.
But why not just maintain abundance for everyone rather than risk a revolution?
Because revolution is eventually where we want to take them, as long as we have control over it. But that...
Okay, so revolution is where they'd like to take us. And we can see this in, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all these channels, race baiting. We can see that they are trying to get some kind of revolution going. The leftists specifically are pushing for these things. And meanwhile, some of the right-wingers, they are pushing back, some of them, but they're not understanding that their ideology is just as totalitarian as the people they're pushing back against. And this is one of the major problems in history is these people, they gain control, the masses blindly follow them for some fucking reason. It could be the way they speak, it could be their looks, it could be they're great military strategists. But once these people get a hold of a culture or a society, they destroy it. Governments destroy the society. And that's the way it's been for forever. I mean, just think about the number of megalithic structures out there that showed that there was a massive society before us, and look what happened to them. Look what happened to Rome. Do you really think we're going to be an exception to any of that? I don't think so. I think we are witnessing all of those things in slow motion, although in the last 10 years it has gotten a little more rapid, but overall it's been in slow motion. My wife and I took to watching, those apocalyptic disaster movies. One dealing with a meteor, another a flood, earthquakes, this sort of thing. And one thing I can say is those events they really are unfolding in semi-slow motion. We have earthquakes going on. We have floods going on. We've had very, very close calls regarding space objects. So it seems like everything that's been on TV is kind of unfolding. I don't mean everything literally. The disaster movies, the idea of what is that called? Oh man, I had the word right at the tip of my disclosure. Perhaps disclosure has already happened through these venues, but I digress.
It can't happen if we're hasty, so take it slow. Never leap into atrocity, ease into it. Give the people time to acclimate to audacity. What they once thought intolerable will become the new status quo. If someone dares to complain, turn their own narrative against them and declare that they are the one who is being outrageous and even treasonous.
Well, you can see that going on with, the LGBTQ, whatever the damn acronym is now. You can see it in the Antifas, their groups. You can see it in the right-winger groups as well. All of these things that this individual on the screen, this cartoon character, is saying is 100% true. 100%. The guy who wrote this, he did a fucking fantastic job of really getting into the mindset of our ruling class, our political class, and to a large degree, the enforcement class. Let's continue.
You don't just jump to executions. Establish a bureaucracy. Start with surveillance. Move to detainment, imprisonment, forced labor, torture. Call it enhanced interrogation. And eventually, executions.
Okay. So if you've been with me for any length of time, that I've covered some of this legislation that allows for these executions, these detainments, and enhanced interrogation. You think that these things are only used on Arab goat farmers from Afghanistan or Pakistan or any of the Arab countries? No, it's used on us too. It's used on us in the county jails. It's used on us in the prisons. So make no mistake about it, these techniques are used on us.
By then, they'll be used to cruelty. They'll partake in cruelty. And at every step of the way, you're rewriting history and you're shifting blame.
How can I possibly do this?
What the average person is capable of would shock you. You may think it impossible to convince people of certain things, but if you repeat something enough with force and confidence, people will believe it. Keep it simple. We will create such an imbalance of power that it will become unsustainable. Make no...
Okay, we will create such an unbalance in power, it won't be sustainable. And this is where we're at now. There is such a massive imbalance in power now that we are nearing that point where the people, not only of the United States, but of the world, are beginning to really get sick of these tyrants, these ruling class people who think they have a divine right to rule over us and to, make us criminals through their legislation. And of course, you got those people who blindly follow the law, right? They don't think about the morality of that law.
No mistake. So eventually some people will have nothing left to lose, and you will not be able to forestall revolution any longer. But worry not. If you do it right, the elite will still be safe, because throughout every stage of our accumulation of power, there will also be a scapegoat. Oh, we don't want to do these things to you. We don't want to have to put cameras everywhere. We don't want to censor you or monitor your communications or put up checkpoints or frisk you or demand your papers. But you see, we must do it because of those people.
Who?
It doesn't matter who. Pick them and make them the enemy. Make it socially acceptable to openly hate them.
And we're at this point as well. It is now socially acceptable to hate, heterosexual white males specifically. What can I say? It's true. It is socially acceptable to hate the heterosexual white male, and we are scapegoated for everything. Specifically, all of the gun violence, when we're really not responsible for the majority, of these mass shootings. These people are on SSRIs. They may be white, but that doesn't make every white guy out there a potential mass shooter. And not every white guy should be punished for what a handful of white guys are doing. Just like pain management patients should not be punished for being in pain and needing an opiate medication to kill that pain as a result of people mixing heroin and fentanyl. And there's a big, big, big difference between a 10 milligram Loratab and fentanyl and heroin. The difference is apples and oranges. And yet, because these people keep on injecting this shit into their veins, the people who really actually need the relief don't get it. They don't get it. Here where I live, they have shut down all of the pain management clinics. They're gone. And so we have a bunch of people now in this city that are going to end up turning to street drugs because, well, they can't get the pharmaceutical drugs that the doctors were prescribing. And it works both ways, the scapegoat thing. They tell one group of people that, hey, it's all their fault that this is happening, while at the same time telling yet another group of people the reverse. Hey, it's those people. And they've got it down to a fine science. They do. A very, very fine science. I mean, they've been studying the human psyche for, since the late 1800s, early, mid 1900s. And they got it down to a fine science now. They can manipulate people into doing whatever it is they want them to do.
Fear is a tool. Use it. We will be the protectors, the savior. You see, they will be the reason we need to be harsh, with the promise that once they are defeated and we have total control, everything will finally go back to the good old days.
But we're living in the good old days right now. Things have never been better.
People don't know that. They take everything for granted. Invent an existential crisis. Constantly reiterate how concerned everyone should be about it. Find your scapegoat and blame them.
And you see that very thing go down every time a mass shooting occurs. They keep saying how immoral it is for people to want to have these weapons to protect themselves with. And it's not immoral. Self-defense is hardwired into the human being. And it's not going to go away. Weaker people may submit and curl up in a ball and allow themselves to be kicked and stomped on and beat, but eventually that fight mechanism within them will be triggered and they will start fighting back. It is hardwired into our being. How much longer can this stuff go on before the proverbial volcano blows? I really sincerely hope not much longer, because I have to tell you, man, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. Even in my month and a half of not making videos, things have gotten worse and worse and worse. And nothing has got better. Nothing. And one of the other reasons why I wasn't making videos, it seems like the same events keep on happening over and over again. Mass shooting, Trump's rhetoric about war. Although a lot of people like to give him props for getting rid of John Bolton, but the guy he's replacing him with really isn't a whole lot different than John Bolton. So he's just another swamp creature. The kind of creature he promised to cleanse from Washington, D.C. Now, you may think that, yes, he did eliminate a swamp creature, but you have to understand John Bolton's been around for a very long time, and he's got influence. He's got influence. Even if he's not in an official position, people will listen to him. Just saying.
Constantly. First, you divide the people, and then you tell them how much those other people cost them and owe them. Pick some groups and make it okay to hurt them.
And we see that right there happening again with, the hatred towards white people in general. And the same is done to white people concerning black people. We are different. There's no question about that. We are different. But we don't have to hate each other just because we're different. If we don't want to live around each other, we shouldn't have to, right? We should be able to live wherever we're comfortable. But, if a white person flees the city, it's called white flight. But if they stay, it's called something else, and they complain about that too. There's just no winning in our situation when it comes to our tribal instincts. A lot of people have abandoned these instincts, and they're going against their own nature. Nothing good ever comes out of going against your own nature. I'm going to tell you that. I've tried being a nice guy before. Nothing came from it. Nothing good. Just bad things. So I stopped being a nice guy. I am an asshole to most people. So let's continue here.
By leading through example, single them out, concentrate on them, dehumanize them. When people see their leaders mistreating them, it will become acceptable, and others will follow suit. As long as it's just them and not everyone else, people will find safety in being against them. The more a person openly hates them, the more loyal that person will appear, and that person will find sanctuary in that loyalty. Standing up for the hated groups will carry great risks. Their defenders will be traitors. They will become part of the hated group, pariahs, and thus also okay to mistreat. Moralize the violence. Make it a necessity. If you do not hurt and kill the guilty, then the guilty will hurt and kill the innocent. So through pain and violence, you're actually doing a good thing.
But people won't actually do this on my say, so will they?
It's not you, it's the law. If you obey the law, you're good. But if you break the law, you're bad. We need to shift from corrective action to punitive action.
And that's where I'm going to end it right there, this clip. It's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Don't want to use too much of this cat's work. I just had to point out that everything in the first 6-7 minutes of this video is being done right now, and you just heard what he said about law. Now, he goes on to talk about how you got these people who blindly follow, and those are the people you want to reach, right? You want to reach those people and get it in their minds that it's okay to demonize, violently attack those who don't agree with the law and do not follow it. And that's what it really boils down to, is there's a lot of people out there that seriously believe if you follow the law, you're a good person, and if you don't, you're a bad person. And law is man-made. There's only one true law, and that's natural law. Physics, the laws of physics, those things. Everything else, short of natural law is man-made and probably to some degree unjust. Take killing, for example. In some states, if you defend yourself with a gun and the person dies, you are still, charged with some kind of crime, whether it be involuntary manslaughter or a gun charge or anything like that. Because the individual didn't want to register his weapon with the government, well, it's a violation of the law. Even though you are defending yourself, you're going to be prosecuted, because, number one, you violated the gun law and you used that gun to defend yourself and you killed somebody. The only moral violence is self-defense. Initiating violence on other people to get your way is immoral, period. And that's what the state does. And their only real function is to create war with other nations and to create war within its society so that they can grow their power more and more and more. And that's the way it is. So I do apologize if I went off, for a while. I have to admit to you that knowing this stuff, knowing that people will continue to cling for heroes and politicians, it's very depressing to me. I have to admit it. I got really, really bummed out. I still am to a degree. And, just if I go over to the Free Thought Project, there's a couple of articles on there right now regarding a cop having child porn, another one being caught on his way to meet a child, had zip ties and some other shit that it would have ended up bad for that child. I can tell you that right now. Then a senator or congressman has been caught with child porn. The filth just goes on and on and on. But, guys like me, we're the bad guys. We're the evil ones. We're the ones who are the problem. But if you look throughout your history, if you look at the report on democide, you'll see that really our biggest problem is government, period. And all of its little branches, all of its little different alphabet agencies, the police departments, all of these things are the problem. Not guys like me. Guys like me want you to be free, want you to make your own decisions. But I guess for most people, it's just easier to be told what to do as opposed to thinking about what you should do and doing the right thing. So anyway, I hope everyone has a good day. Thought I would talk to you some here this morning. And till next time, kill the state, live free.